All right, welcome everyone to another segment of Mastering the Zodiac's guests, I suppose. Today we have Ike Rodriguez here back again. I always like to have Ike on. We have him on about every year or so.
Mhm.
And today we're going to talk about his trip to Egypt, which was very interesting when he was sharing it with me earlier. So I wanted to share it with you all as well. And first of all, Ike, thanks again for being on.
Yeah, thanks. It's always nice to come back on and have our yearly recap.
For sure, for sure. All
Yeah,
right, so
yeah.
if you wouldn't mind, maybe just give the audience here just a little bit of a synopsis as to what your trip to Egypt was all about.
Okay, yeah. So basically with my research in the 13th zodiac sign, which is what we all follow, sidereal 13th zodiac sign, I traveled to Egypt because I made the connection, which is it's just these are facts. It's Ophiuchus is connected to Asclepius of ancient Greece. Asclepius is connected to Imhotep of ancient Greece, of ancient Egypt. And they all have the same stories. These are the same, the serpent bearers, the gods of medicine, the creators, the builders, the intelligence. So yeah, for me, my astrology practice, I feel like the Egyptian celestial relationships are the strongest. So I went to Egypt and I went to the Dendera temple. I went to a lot of the temples. I spent 3 months there, and trying to figure out how true um, astrology is. The ancients practiced, they lived by the stars, they had a star religion.
So that's what
So,
you
and
did
I
for
was
three
able to
months,
see,
going to all the temples
yeah,
exclusively.
3 months
Wow.
going to the temples, eating the amazing food. I mean, one of my hotel rooms was right outside the Sphinx. And then I had a house in Luxor right by the Nile. So I was
Wow.
all on the West Bank and all the tombs. It was just like, life changing. So,
Nice.
yeah.
So what did you discover there? It sounds like some interesting things. Yeah, mostly about Ophiuchus, or in this case, Imhotep.
Yeah. Imhotep 13th. So I'll show you some images in a minute, but a lot what I found was a lot of the academics, the Egyptologists there, they don't really understand astrology or the zodiac signs. They think of it still as art. This is just art, and that's it. But yeah, I went to Dendera Temple, which is the famous zodiac, the circular zodiac, which we all know, and you can see where Ophiuchus is. You can see it's a man on a throne holding a staff with a serpent around it. It's right on top of the tail of Scorpio, in between Scorpio and Sag. It's right where it should be in the sky. And the same thing with Esna Temple. There's a rectangular zodiac, and there's a part in between Scorpio and Sagittarius that's a bunch of serpents and feathered serpents as well. And they say, well, we don't know what that is. That's not a zodiac sign. And I'm like, that's exactly the 13th zodiac sign, the exact location. And so I'll show you images of that as well. But what was really interesting was there's another zodiac on the lower level of Dendera, on the ground level, and it's the rectangular ceilings, and it's on each side. And there's decans, and no one knows this, but they just go, those are the decans, and there's a dirty spot there. They forgot to clean it. But guess what decan that unclean spot is? It's the 13th decan. And I'm just like, what are the odds that this entire ceiling has been cleaned to perfection? And the one spot they missed, that the excuse is, oh, we just forgot about it. It's like in the middle. I'll show you an image. It's the 13th decan. And
That's
it's a serpent-headed god.
that's wild.
Uh,
So what decans are they? I mean, are they doing what we're normally practicing today, which is like three
yeah,
decans
yeah,
per sign?
per,
Okay, but
per
that was the
sign.
13th one, right? So that would put it somewhere else in the zodiac, wouldn't it? Because
Yeah,
getting all the way
you know
into
what?
Ophiuchus, you're probably dealing up in the 20s
Yeah,
somewhere.
I don't work with decans for some reason. I don't even have a reason why. I just some reason I don't do decans. But if you look at the image, I'll show it to you. It's near Sagittarius, but I don't know if it's relating to the
Equal
decans of. Yeah, I
divisions.
don't understand
Yeah.
how it works. Yeah,
Okay.
but
Well, let's take a look at some of these images then.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Let's take a look. I'll share screen here. So this is let's just get this open. I'll explain it to you. This is basically my PowerPoint. So I'm not going to do a whole PowerPoint presentation or whatever. I'm just going to show you a couple slides. But here's the best way to discover it, the way I discovered it. So I'm doing a virtual tour. So basically, I had something what was called a program called Temple Transmissions. So people were able to sign up with me, and I was able to take them on a virtual tour through my journey of Egypt. So I'm videoing all of this in real time. So here's the ceiling right here. You see that black square?
Mm-hmm.
So out of the entire ceiling has been cleaned and it's been restored. That one square is not. And it's just bypassed. It's like, okay, yeah. Oh, they forgot it. No problem. So then I'm like,
Is it that it needs to be cleaned, or is it like so like is it a certain chemical they can't remove or something like that? Is it just
no,
they
no, no.
just
It's
didn't
the
clean it?
same.
Huh.
It's the same as all the ceilings. It's just, thousands of years of dirt and soot from,
But they just didn't clean that one spot, is what you're saying.
that one spot. And then they're telling me the excuse is, oh, they'll get back to it. They forgot. Oops. And I'm like, do you realize how much scaffolding has to go up? These ceilings are, I don't know, 40, 60 feet high. It's like, no, they're not going to just, oh, let's just pull up a ladder and do it. It's
You're
just
sure?
like,
So they intentionally didn't
yeah,
clean that one spot.
yeah. Yeah. And
Wow.
then, if you inspect it, which, so I studied a lot of what the Book of Gates, the 12 gates, the Amenta, all of these kind of ancient Egyptian cosmology stories, which say that after we die, we go to the Amenta, to the stars, the Amduat. All of that I studied, and I learned really quickly that you see the boat that he's on. This is called the Ark. This is
This is
also what you
zoomed
hear about.
in. This is zoomed
Yeah,
into what we just saw. Okay.
yeah. So you hear about Ra with his solar arc, going into the underworld. So all of this is the story. So what I learned real quick is the front of the boat is called perception, how you see. And if you notice, they cleaned the front of the boat, but the rest is in darkness, it's hidden. So
Hmm.
perception is clear, the rest is hidden,
Hmm.
right? This is what I take from it. Because like exactly right the front of the boat, to the point of the exact front, like the front is clear. Like that's not a mistake. And then the exact
Seems it
back.
seems like to me that when this was originally created, maybe it was darkened on purpose, and that it's just a different color.
I
But
mean,
you're saying it's like soot. You're saying it's like
yeah, yeah. If you look at the other temple, I'll show you Esna. You'll see how the soot is, because apparently when this was all uncovered, and then they slowly were uncovering it, it was Egypt is now occupied territory, Arab Muslim, so they're not ancient Egyptians. So they didn't know what these temples were. To them, it was just like, okay, so they were living in the temples and they would build fires there. That was just a place to live and squat, you
uh,
know? Yeah. So some of the temples you see, like Edfu Temple, you'll see houses right on back of the temple. People living in mud brick houses
hmm.
backed right on the temple. And you'll see images of people have houses and huts inside of these temples, not
Okay.
knowing that they're, yeah.
Yeah. So what's your theory if you had to take uh one theory as to why it wasn't cleaned? What's your theory?
The 13th sign should be hidden. The
But
powers and the
who?
energy.
Just the powers
uh,
that be just
Yeah,
decided to not clean that part.
not clean it.
Okay.
Showing symbolism, esoteric symbolism, like the energy, the power, the knowledge of the 13 should be hidden. It's that this is
Mhm.
how it is, for a reason, because it's that much power. It's the awakening of the human,
Yeah.
the
And for
human
those that
consciousness.
don't know, Ophiuchus, which again is linked to Imhotep, was removed from the mainstream, zodiac. So it used to be, well, there's 13 zodiac signs, but during the Babylonian time periods, they removed Ophiuchus to make 12. So
Yeah,
Ophiuchus has always been hidden for a long time now, thousands of years by
yeah,
by some people. We'll just put it that way.
yeah. By some, yeah.
Okay. So
I'll,
so what
I'll
else you have here?
I'll
Mhm.
show you. Okay, here's a PDF of the Temple of Esna, which is, I'm going back to Egypt this year. Um, They cleaned this ceiling, totally perfectly cleaned this part of the ceiling. So here we have the zodiac again, right? So here's the zodiac. I can show, here's a zoomed out image of it. So you can see we can have Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. We don't know what that is. Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, right? So here's like a more zoomed in image of that. So you can see Scorpio is clearly the scorpion. You can see Libra as the scales. You can see Virgo is the wheat. Cancer is the crab. Sagittarius is the archer. Capricorn is the sea goat. Aquarius is the water bearer. Pisces is the fish. Aries. So this is real, right? Taurus is the bull. We don't know what this is. That's the mainstream narrative. We don't know what that is. That's just like whatever. And I'm like, if you know astrology, you know what I'm doing here, you know why I'm here. I'm here to figure this out. This is not, we don't know what this is. This is where the 13th zodiac sign is. This is the galactic center.
This looks like two individuals wearing a mask. I don't know what kind of mask that is, but there's a bunch of serpents everywhere.
Yep.
Some of these winged serpents.
Yeah, winged serpents.
They're
And
standing
that
on
ties
winged
into
serpent
the
as well.
Mayan cosmology of Quetzalcoatl, Viracocha, all these are the winged serpents. Even the Hopi have, you know, they have the wings. So yeah, and I'm sitting here like, what?
And so for
Really?
those
No
that
one
don't
knows
know,
what that.
Ophiuchus is the serpent bearer, and the serpent has been synonymous for healing energy in multiple cultures around the world. But this
Yeah,
is obviously very much the Ophiuchus part of the sky, right? So coming after Scorpio and before Sagittarius is Ophiuchus. The mainstream, I don't know if you want to call them scientists, they don't know what this is. Or they're saying, you know, just ignore it. But that's very obviously Ophiuchus energy there.
Yeah. John Anthony West, I don't know if people would know who he is. I toured with the person who toured him, who took him around Egypt for 30 years. Her name is Suhaila Hussein, and she's really amazing. And so they call the scientists, they call them quackademics.
Yeah, I like to think of them
So
as
yeah,
modern day.
and it's no one's fault, you know, and it's like that's how they learn. So here's the ceiling, and this gives you a representation of what.
Real quick before you do,
Yeah.
why is there a gap there between what was it, Gemini and Cancer? There's some more serpents there. Why is there a gap there?
Yeah, okay, it's interesting you point that out. So my studies, the ancient Egyptians consider the Cancer constellation the gateway of the souls. That's what they refer to it as. And there is a lot of information there, but then it's the Scarabaeus beetle, which also represents divine birthing, because the Scarabaeus beetle can have a birth without a partner, so they consider it a divine birthing. And there's also talks about how the Scarabaeus beetle navigates with the stars in the Milky Way, and it rolls his dung up the hill. So you can look at the Scarabaeus beetle, but that's the winged disc. That's represented by the winged disc of Horus, which is rebirth. So that's another place where there's a pulsar there. Also, by the way, in the galactic center, there's a pulsar called SGRA. And also there's a pulsar in the Cancer constellation.
Okay. So for those that don't know, Ophiuchus is where the center of the Milky Way is. And obviously probably many pulsars there, I would imagine, just because you're looking into the center of the galaxy. And that's why it looks so prominent, because you see so many stars and it almost looks like a cloud in the sky. But that's where Ophiuchus is, right? Is the center of the galaxy. And then you're saying another pulsar over there next to Cancer, which the Egyptians considered the gateway to the soul, or into this life for the soul. And it's also serpent symbolism. So maybe it's, entry of the soul over here next to Cancer, exit of the soul maybe in Ophiuchus, being associated with transformation and rebirth, death. And
exactly right. So if you look more into the 13th sign, and you realize that all the ancient civilizations that have this one, what we call the Christ consciousness, that's what really we're looking at. We're looking at the art of resurrection, the one who knows immortality. This is the Christ story. And this is why the Mayans also call that part of the sky Shibaba, the crossing of two worlds. All of these deities that are connected to that part of the sky we don't have their bodies. We don't have, they're not here anymore, but we don't have their bodies. So this might be the exit point of the samsara circle of the zodiac that we all go through as human beings.
Yeah.
Right? The animal wheel, the zoo wheel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, totally. It makes total sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So what were you going to show there
Oh,
with the temple? Mhm.
just like, so I have the PDF of that temple, but here is the actual image of that temple. So just remember how you asked about Dendera, like how black, like why the cleaning? This is
Yeah.
how dark the ceilings are when of the temples without being cleaned.
Oh, yeah,
So
I
you
can't
can see
even read it.
Scorpio, you can see Cancer, you can see the two gods here. It's really hard to see, but I'm just showing you, if you look, this is
So that's what we just saw in the
yeah,
drawing. Is a depiction of that. Okay.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Is there a dark spot around the Ophiuchus here as well?
Well, the whole thing is dark. They just
Okay.
cleaned this part of the ceiling, and just to give you an idea of what it looks like clean, the other side of the temple is clean, and this is how vibrant it
Oh.
looks. So when I go back there this winter, that part of the ceiling that's dirty will look like this, and I'll be able to look at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, here's a good reference for your viewers. If you look at Genesis of the Cosmos by Paul Laviolette, he makes strong scientific connections about these pulsars being used for interstellar travel. So these pulsars are not there randomly. They're there for intelligent conscious beings to be able to travel. So he goes far out, but he proves it by science, which is what I love. And this book is called Genesis of the Cosmos. So, people can pick that up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And yeah, I think that's it for sharing. I mean, I was in a movie about what I discovered in Egypt. I'll show you the landing page. It's called Code 12. I'm on the landing page.
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see
So
it. Oh, there it
yeah, do
is.
you see
Okay.
it here? Yeah.
Yep.
So she is the former producer of Gaia TV, and she went on her own, has a studio called Hathor Studios. So we have a lot of great people in this film. We have Billy Carson, who's in the background here. We have Hasim Harriman, William
Oh, wow.
Henry. Yeah, some
Oh,
great
that's a
people are
major
here.
documentary there.
Yeah, it's called Code 12, and it is about the codes of 12 that are keeping us human. The 13th code will break us out of the matrix. And currently, the film is receiving all these awards at festivals, and soon it's going to hit some network. I'm not being told because it's kind of secret, but yeah,
That's
and you
awesome.
can watch the trailer here. Yeah.
Oh, that's big time. All right, great.
Yeah.
Some more exposure to 13 and true
Yeah, I
sidereal
think.
astrology as well. Did you reference true sidereal in there?
Yeah, yeah. I
All right.
referenced True Sidereal. I reference how the 12 sign zodiac might be the trap of samsara. Because I
Okay.
reference a lot of what I read in the Hermetica, my research there about the zodiac being to control humans, and so my theory is, well, if that's used to control us, what happens if we align with it to break out? So
Mm,
all of that falls into the story of Code 12. So
nice. All right.
yeah.
So I'll share that with everyone when it comes out, when it's supposed to come out this summer.
I don't know,
Okay.
I'm left in the dark on that because
Yeah. All right.
how,
All right. Well, I'll share it with everyone when it does.
yeah, you can
But
share. I'll give you the link for the trailer and all of
yeah.
that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Well, Ike, it's always a pleasure. Thanks again for
yeah,
being on. And for
for
those of you who
sure.
don't know who he is, he's got an awesome group called Sidereal Revolution on Facebook. If you're into True Sidereal and you have a Facebook account, you should definitely sign up to that group. It's absolutely free, huge, great community over there. And of
Mhm.
course, your website. Can you tell everyone where to find you and what you
Oh
offer?
yeah, siderealastrologist.com or learnsiderealastrology.com.
Okay.
So those,
And you're, of course, a true sidereal astrologer
yeah,
and all that good stuff. All right.
yeah, yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
All
Thanks for
right.
having me
Well,
on. It's always
yeah,
great.
always a
Yeah,
pleasure, Ike. Thank
yeah.
you. Take care.
Okay. All right.